Welcome, it's Laura, and today we are just doing a fun look back at 2024, the season that was. For all you binge watchers out there, this is just going to be a binge of all the garden tours from 2024. So I am skipping the March one because there's really not much to see. We're going straight into April. If you are new here, I am in Connecticut, Zone 6. And of course, we would love to have you subscribe if you are new. We have plenty coming up in the 2025 season. I'm so excited for that. So stay tuned. On to the tours. Up here in this window basket, I have a couple of things. I still have an ivy in here, and I have some pansy seedlings again. Jump scare. That's one of my cats, Sir Pounce. He's giving actually pretty calm energy right now for orange cat, if you are familiar. But I also got this gorgeous columbine. I picked this up from Lowe's this last week, and I am in love with it. Do you guys like columbine? Let me know in the comments how you feel about columbine. I love it. I think it has like an alien quality to it that I just absolutely love. I love the coloring of it. I love the foliage. I love everything about columbine. And I like the name Aquilegia. Columbine, Aquilegia, it reminds me of Christina Aguilera. And then over on the porch, I just have a ton of seedlings still. Up in this hanging basket, I have just an alyssum. And then I think I have a couple of little alyssum seedlings as well. And in this other hanging basket, I have these gorgeous combination of 3 different kinds of pansies or violas. Here we go again with that. I cannot get them straight, but it's either one or the other. These are from the Garden Barn in Vernon, Connecticut. If you guys are from around here and you haven't been there, you need to check that place out. They have beautiful plants. And then we have this gorgeous girl. This is definitely top 10 plants for me. This is a pulmonaria, also known as a lungwort. And it's just beautiful. I love the polka dotted foliage, and I love the color of the blooms. They're like a bluish purple and a pink. They bloom kind of together. It's amazing. And if you don't have a pulmonaria, you should. They are pretty shade tolerant as well. So just a great addition to the garden. And then my gorgeous Ericas or Heathers. These are actually Ericas, but I know that Heathers and Ericas are very, very similar. I picked these up, I think, 2 years ago, and they were iffy for our zone. They have done just fine for me, and actually they have been blooming for so long. Honestly, they've probably been blooming for like 2 months. They started blooming a long time ago, and they just keep on, and they're evergreen, and I love them. They're supposed to get like 2 by 2, so they're not quite full grown, but I really want more, and they do come in a white bloom as well, so I would love to get some of those. This hellebore I picked up at the Connecticut Flower and Garden Show. I don't know the variety of it, I'm sorry. That's the red blooming plant. And next to it is another Jacob's Ladder, also a Heaven Sent from Proven Winners. And as it was emerging, the foliage was like a reddish, and it was just so gorgeous. It hasn't quite bloomed yet, but it will soon. There's a little heuchera here, and behind it is another Jacob's Ladder. This is a different one from Monrovia, and it has a variegated foliage, and I love it. It's very pretty and very different from the other one. And behind it, I just have a little boxwood, and the white blooming plant is a Pieris. We will take another look at that in a second, but up here I have this gorgeous primrose that I just picked up from Lowe's as well. If you saw my last video, I talked about it already. It has a gorgeous color that's like a blackish red. And then I have some more hellebores coming up behind it. I don't know if these will bloom. They were new to me last year, so we'll just see. But here's another look at that Pieris japonica. This is a gorgeous shrub. It's evergreen, and it blooms these gorgeous bell flowers. It's so pretty. I love that shrub. And I know I've mentioned this a couple times, but this is like currently my favorite area of the garden. I just think it looks so pretty right now. These red things that you're seeing, these are penstemon. They'll be blooming shortly. I love penstemon. It's one of my favorite goth plants if you're into that. It's got beautiful dark foliage. The blooms are very whimsical. So that will look gorgeous soon. This is an echinacea right here. Some alyssum. This is, again, really packed in. But there's some pansies blooming in here. These gorgeous purple tulips. Gorgeous. Some more alyssum. There is even some English daisies in there. This whole thing really needs to get redone for summer. Let's go into the fairy garden. Yeah, let's do that. This is a ruby slippers hydrangea. Starting to leaf out and look beautiful. And in the fairy garden, I have a bunch of stuff. And I need to do some deadheading on this scabiosa, but she's gorgeous. This is a blue spruce sedum. I love that plant. Next to this fairy queen is a hardy geranium. And then my little mushroom thing has a bunch of trailing plants in it, and it's looking pretty good. It's got alyssum, creeping jenny, another sad looking dichondra, but you can see the new growth is looking good. So I think they'll be okay. I think that was from frost damage. Another pulmonaria there. And then I do have some antique Layetta violas that are blooming. That's this. Focus. Focus. Got a couple of those there in another spot too, so I'll show you. Look at my guy. He's that lemon coral sedum is trying to bloom. He looks pretty funny. All right, over to the witch's garden. Love this guy. He's looking so, is he like annoyed? What is happening? But I finally got my Super Beano white out. Got 2 of them this year, so this thing's gonna be going crazy with blooms. That's gonna be like the froth. You can see there's a mushroom in there too. Then the creeping jenny is like the ooze. And I did get celosia as well for the flames. So I think that's gonna look awesome this year. I'm excited. This bright red one is a Heuchera Carnival watermelon. Someone asked me about that in the last video. She's beautiful, she's gonna bloom, but I don't really care about the blooms. I just love Heuchera for the foliage. This is a hardy geranium. There's another heuchera over here, and then this ajuga. I really need to cut this back and thin it out a bit. I have a bunch of snapdragon seedlings in here. You can kind of see they're really, really dark foliage ones. But yeah, they need sun. So I gotta move some of this. But look at my climbing hydrangea. She's gorgeous. And she's gonna bloom. Gorgeous azalea in bloom. I love the form of this one. Just so pretty. And she loves her life. And some of these black pansies are blooming. They're also being eaten by some kind of bug. Here, let me see here. Some of them are coming out with this yellow. I don't know what that's all about, but it's okay. You can see there's a couple like holes. I usually don't worry about stuff like that. I got enough to worry about. So some tears and holes and stuff, that's okay. The hellebore is almost done. I don't know, she's still hanging on. And then this Heaven Sent Jacob's Ladder. It's gorgeous, it's huge, it's amazing, but I think it has powdery mildew already. And it's so early in the season for that to happen. I don't know. Oh well, what can you do? The one next to it is looking gorgeous. This one is Monrovia. Some more pulmonaria and heuchera. And this primrose is still looking gorgeous. I've been deadheading it. Just a pansy and some alyssum. Probably have to switch that pansy out soon. Look at this gorgeous black petunia. You can see the difference in my seedling, how yellow it is. But it will get better. And then I got myself a gorgeous Supertunia Bordeaux. She's so pretty. So pretty. Some more purple tulips up here. Some allium coming in. This tulip, what happened? I ordered the purple ones and then I ordered black. This is clearly not black, it's purple, it's pink. It's the only one that's bloomed so far of the quote black ones. I'm really hoping that the rest of them are black. I really was trying to eliminate pink from the garden this year as much as possible. And here is that lilac that is blooming. This is the first year that this one has bloomed, so I'm excited. This is all yarrow. I started these all from seed a few years ago, probably like 4 years ago by now. But I've never had to start them from seed again because they spread. So I have a lot of them. These are giant allium. I can't wait for them to bloom. These spiky guys are gladiolas that are coming up. They're supposed to be like a really dark red So those should be really pretty. And then there's more bachelor's buttons. There's poppies in here too, but the groundhog, she keeps nibbling on those. They look like lettuce. She loves lettuce. So I get it. I'm going to be planting my Jack-B little pumpkin seeds in here like tomorrow. And I put this mesh wire thing on there to protect it from the groundhog. Otherwise she will just eat the new sprouts of the pumpkin plant. But that will climb up the spooky tree, and it will be a pumpkin tree, and it will be amazing. In the front, I have lavender, and a lot of them are doing okay. Some of them are doing really good, and some of them died. Well, actually, this is the only one that really died. All the rest have some kind of green on them, but look at this one. Looking fabulous. This one, you know, I wish I had marked these because I know there's different types in here, but I'm not good with marking. And then the row behind them is just autumn joy sedum and penstemon. I love penstemon. It's so pretty. Even when it's not blooming, but it's gonna bloom soon. It's gorgeous. So in the front here, I just have a couple sedums. This red is a little crimson 9-bark. I got it when it was really small, so this is only its second season. And then I did plant a bunch of petunias. And these ones are tie-dye petunias. They're from Swallowtail Gardens. And I started these from seed. I'm excited. Some of them, they actually all look like they're about to bloom. There's an echinacea here. Last year, I had a volunteer sunflower come up here. So maybe again, we'll see, maybe. These are gladiolas that I've mentioned in like a million of my videos, but excuse me, they are gorgeous. They're supposed to only be hardy to zone 8, but they come back every year. This is, I think, their 4th year now coming back, and they were from the Dollar Tree. More petunias in here. This is a little baby spirea. So in this strip garden I have, I tried to keep it kind of simple with like repeating stuff. So I have a lot of echinacea in here. And it's just the purpurea, the regular purple coneflower. I have a lot of, this is spotted bee balm. These are the best. If you want pollinators, you should try spotted bee balm. I'll insert a clip here. These are rose campion, and I started these from seed. This is their 2nd year, and they are a biennial, so they are going to bloom. Very exciting. Except their blooms are like fuchsia, which is not my favorite, but that's okay. My peony. I don't know how much longer she's got, but she is loaded. And I did see some ants on her. Yeah, here's some. That usually means they're about to bloom. The ants like the sugar from the peonies, but they won't harm your plant. More coneflowers. And then I have a bunch of, oh, I'm about to step on poison ivy. Hang on. Yikes. I have to come back for that. I have a bunch of salvia in here as well. and they're mostly purple and white. These feathery things are more larkspur. Now these ones I started from seed this year. You can see the difference in how much smaller these ones are than the ones that self-seeded over by the maple tree. Those ones are way further along, so they're a plant that does not really like to be transplanted, but they will still grow. A ton of maple seedlings. Ay, sick of those. That's another spotted bee balm. And then these are yarrow. These are Colorado yarrow that I started from seed probably 4 years ago. They grow super fast. They're really easy to start from seed. And they bloom in like a variety of colors. So you'll get like an off-white, a pale pink, a purple. I can see they have aphids right now. They get them early in the season. Last year, I kind of went crazy because it was the first time it happened. And I tried to eradicate them and like I chopped the whole plant down. Anyway, this year, I think I'm just going to leave them be because other bugs come along and eat them. And if I had just waited a little longer, I think that might have happened. Anyway, moving on. More echinacea. And these all along the edges are more oxeye daisies. So it pretty much lines this whole strip here. I think they're going to be really pretty when they bloom, which will be soon. There's a lot of things that are about to bloom. The yarrow, the oxeye daisies, some of the petunias. Okay, I've been really nervous to kind of show you guys this whole situation. First of all, I wanted to get the grass cut before the chore, but that's okay. It's wet. So this is still a work in progress. I have plans and I just don't want to settle. So I've got some catmint lining the walkway here. And then repeating on this side, more of the hollyhocks. The delphiniums are, some of them are doing well. This hollyhock is being attacked by a bug. Probably a slug. Sometimes I like to just leave ones like this because if you do that, they tend to just attack that one. It's like their little it's like their little snack attack, and they won't bother the other ones as much because they know this one is vulnerable. It's weak. This is another Weigela. This area is getting like a lot more shade than I remember. I think it's just because it's early in the season. It's also early in the day right now. And this is a little Fat Albert blue spruce. Hard to see the color on her right now, right now. But I got this from fastgrowingtrees.com. I think 3 or 4 years ago. I love it. It puts on pretty good growth, but not a lot because it's supposed to stay fairly small. I just wanted like a little Christmas tree looking thing here, and blue is my favorite for evergreens. So I won't let it get that much taller really, but I want it to get filled in more. Like he's supposed to be Fat Albert. So I'm gonna need you to be a little fatter. So that's it, guys, for May. Hi everyone, it's Laura. Welcome back. It is time for another garden tour. It is the middle of June, so it's time for a June garden tour. This is kind of the fairy garden. The fairy garden officially starts over there, but I kind of consider the whole thing fairy garden. So over here I have these dark leaves are penstemon. And these, I'm not sure which one is the mother plant, but a few years back I bought one and then I saved seed from it. And now I have, I don't know, 30. I love them. This is definitely a top 10 plant for me. So gorgeous. And she's fully in bloom right now. Absolutely beautiful. And then I also have some echinacea in here that hasn't quite bloomed yet. Got a little alyssum down here. We are expecting a heat wave. Is anyone else? I mean, if you're near me, yes, you are. It's supposed to be like near 100 for like 4 or 5 days straight. It's going to be pretty crazy. So I've been scrambling to try to figure out what to do. I think I'm going to use like an umbrella to kind of shade some of the things, but I think I'm probably gonna lose some things as well. I know that the pansies and the alyssum are not gonna like it. I can't believe they've kept going this long without getting all, dried and burnt up. But look at these pansies are still blooming. I know they're kind of leggy, but I mean, they're blooming their heads off. These are the black pansies. Some of them came out a little yellow. That's okay. Most of them are very, very dark. These seeds I got from Baker Creek. The alyssum. I believe I got the seeds for these just by saving seed from last year. And I also sometimes get them from Walmart. I grow a lot from seed. So these poppies here, these are called Amazing Gray. They just started blooming. They're blooming in kind of like all different shades of like purple and grayish. A little bit of pink. They are absolutely gorgeous. They almost look like a watercolor effect. Aren't they so pretty? I have a bunch of snapdragons planted in here and over here. You can see a few of them have started to bloom. These are called the Black Prince snapdragon. They have really dark flowers. Here's one that's budded up and ready to bloom. Here's one that is bloomed. Like I said, some things are flopping over and I'm just letting them flop. Also, I just watered, so they're a little heavy. Let's see if I can give you a better look at this. There we go. Gorgeous. I also have some petunias in here called sparkler petunias. You see how the shape is kind of different than a normal petunia, more star-shaped. The leaves are a little bit pointier. They're really cute. This, I think I must have watered too late in the day and burned this. But it'll be okay. It'll come back. This is a creeping thyme. More of the sparkler petunias. There is a bunch of creeping phlox in the fairy garden. And there are some violas and things mixed in there as well, and some alyssum. First of all, let me just say, if you guys are in the spooky community, you know that At Home has their Halloween out. And they have a cauldron that's like huge. I was there. I saw it in person. and it's huge, and I kind of really want it to replace this. I love this, but it isn't gonna last forever. It's like really rusted, and technically it's a fire pit. I would love to switch it out for like a real cauldron. Anyway, in here I have Verbena Whiteout, Superbena Whiteout from Proven Winners. They are going to bloom like crazy very soon. You can see a lot of bloom heads on there. Then I have the Creeping Jenny acting as my ooze, and Celosia acting as my flames. Now my dianthus, these are called Spooky Dianthus. I started them from seed last year, and then I picked the white ones and moved them over here. This one here is a little bit more pink, but it's still really light colored, so I think I'm gonna let it stay for now at least. But aren't the blooms on these so cool? These are the coolest. These were from Baker Creek last year, these seeds. I have some Dusty Miller in here also. And this penstemon is also in bloom. You can see how things are kind of leaning. They're all kind of leaning that way. That's just because they follow the sun, right? And it's fine. It's whatever. You can't do much about it unless you're gonna stake everything, which I am not. In this pot I have a black petunia and some Dichondra Silver Falls. This black one isn't blooming right now. It got eaten early in the season, so it's just starting to put more buds on. And then there is a moonflower in there also. Have a couple of white blooming hydrangeas. And every chance I get, I like to remind you guys that I got these for $1 a piece on clearance at Walmart a few years ago. After Mother's Day, they were those greenhouse grown kind that aren't supposed to come back. They came back and they bloom every year. They're wonderful. And now we'll swing around over here. This hydrangea is starting to color up. She's looking beautiful. Most of the hydrangeas in the yard come out like this bluish color. I do have a pink one that I moved to the front to be in the rainbow garden. Otherwise, it's ruining my color scheme. Here's another hardy geranium. This one's getting huge and looking gorgeous. Some of the sedums are in bloom. I do not like yellow. I'm not a fan of yellow blooms. But these are too hard to kind of pick off. A lot of the time I'll just cut the blooms off of sedum, because a lot of them bloom yellow. And on this side, kind of the same thing, but this side gets a little bit more shade. It really only gets a little bit more shade, but look at the difference. Like, look at the hydrangea size. It's also a lot closer to this tree, and the roots are really bad, so it's probably more to do with that, actually. And in this bed, I have more hydrangeas. More. The pumpkins are coming up. They're coming up. There's a few spots where they're not coming up, but for the most part, they are coming up. They're looking good. They're getting bigger, and with the heat wave coming, I think they're gonna grow a lot very soon. And they are surrounded by blue spice basil, which has a very strong scent. to deter the critters. I do have some volunteer tomatoes that have popped up. You can see one here. There's a bunch of them right here that popped up. This is where they're supposed to be. I've got them planted here, and also there's hollyhocks behind them. I'm just gonna do the Florida weave, which is just where you use twine, you go in and out. And then all in here, I have lollipop verbena. This is the only one that has bloomed so far. This is the mother plant, and every other plant that you see is from seed that I saved from this plant. And these bachelor's buttons, I'm obsessed. They're leaning. I need more stakes to kind of pull them up. They're like as tall as I am right now, but they are so gorgeous. The color is so dark and beautiful. I've been deadheading them like crazy to keep them going. I am worried about the heat because they're a cool flower. I hope that they will make it through because this is like my favorite. They're just so pretty. And at the bottom, I put more of those sparkler petunias. This is a butterfly bush, just a mini one. There's more of the sparklers. And I do have a few jigsaw peppers planted in here as well. I just really like the way they look. They have this beautiful marbling on the leaves. So pretty. And they put on little purple peppers. This is all peppers in the raised bed, pretty much, with the exception. I put a sweet potato vine in here just to hold it, because I don't know where I want it. I don't know where I want it right now. And then there's a few basil plants. I think what I'll do is maybe move some of those volunteer tomatoes into here. Just like one or two. Because I don't really have anything else in here right now. And then my herb spiral is a bit of a disaster. I haven't paid it any attention this year. It needs to get refreshed. It needs some more soil. I just threw a bunch of extra basil in here. There's a couple of tomatoes. A couple of strawberries that I found. I just popped in there. But for the most part, this is a disaster. I need to get it in shape. You know how it is. Let's go around here. These penstemon are looking gorgeous. They're almost done blooming, and when they do finish, I usually just leave them on. I really like the way penstemon looks even when it's not in bloom. Plus, I will collect seed from it, but also I've got a bunch of penstemon seedlings just popping up on their own this year, I noticed. Here's another scabiosa that needs to get deadheaded. Not as bad as the last one though. There are some Serious Blue salvia in here that should be blooming for the next garden tour. More snapdragons in here. These are forget-me-nots. There are a bunch of little lavender seedlings in here. They are starting to put on more growth. I don't think they are quite getting enough sun in this spot. And I have to mulch, so it's just hard to see over here. This whole area here is just mostly hydrangeas. I have a few hydrangeas in here. Here's one that's starting to put on some color. Hello, gorgeous. There's irises in here as well. Those are done blooming. On the fence is Virginia creeper. I tested the other day. Like it brushed, I was working over here and it brushed up against my arm pretty bad. And I know that some people say that Virginia creeper will give you the same rash as poison ivy. I get poison ivy terribly all the time because we have so much of it. So I wanted to test it because I like Virginia creeper and I want to keep it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep working and we'll see what happens instead of washing it off right away. So it's been like 2 days. I mean, I've washed since then, but I let it be for several hours and nothing has happened. So I have not gotten a rash from it. That makes me very happy because I don't want to pull it out if I don't have to. But if it was going to give me a rash, I was like, all right, I'm going to be done with this because the poison ivy is so bad and I can't with it. These are little rhododendrons. They're putting on a lot of growth this year. This garden is kind of a mess. There's some blue bachelor's buttons in here that toppled over. So here's one that has, this is the tallest one that hasn't broken yet. But a lot of them I had to cut back because they toppled over. I staked them, they toppled over again. I just don't have enough stakes. There's not enough stakes in the world to stake all these plants. So anyway, the tall spikes are gladiolus, sorry. They will be blooming soon, I think. Next couple weeks, I think. And I'm obsessed because these ones are supposed to be like a really dark red. Boomer, get out of there. He's going to dig a hole. Don't dig. There's also some poppies in here. They had gotten nibbled down to nubs, but they're coming back. This one's pretty big. A little close up of the blue. So pretty. And then there's more verbena, lollipop verbena in here as well. Okay, let's start in the front here, all the way out by the street. I have some alyssum lining the edges here, and it's grown quite a bit in the past week or so because of the heat wave. And then I picked up a couple of catmints, this one and that one, and this Artemisia, when Lowe's was having that 3 for $12 perennial sale. And I love how the Artemisia looks, but I think it looks like it wants to bloom. And I don't know, but I think it blooms yellow, and I don't like yellow blooms. We shall see. Some more alyssum up here, and then these are the tie-dye petunias. They're looking a little bit sad because of the rain, but the colors are so pretty. These are from Swallowtail Garden Seeds, and they're gorgeous. They're like various shades of purple. And there's a bunch of ageratum coming up that has self-seeded. And this is pretty much all over. I've got some here, pretty much wherever it was before. So down the strip and in other areas. And then I have this drift of rose campion. I just cut a ton of it out because it had all flopped over from the storm. These I grew from seed last year, so this is their first year blooming because they are a biennial. And the blooms are just so bright. This color is like amazing. The camera is not really doing it justice. I also have some salvia in here. And then the taller, darker purple is larkspur that self-seeded from last year. Absolutely gorgeous. I'll show you some more over by the maple tree in a minute. This is a cleome. I grew these from seed. I don't know if you guys remember when I planted them in here, they were looking pretty bad. This is the first one to bloom so far, and it looks amazing. It's so pretty. Very whimsical, don't you think? Love it. All right, let's go down the path here. This one, this yarrow is like not even in the garden. It's like in the driveway. But it's really hard to dig in here. It's like pure rocks. There's a spirea on this side that is like partially in bloom right now. This one got really big this year. I think I'm gonna give it a nice haircut. I'd like to have some more evergreen interest in this area. Really need to work on that. I'm thinking maybe like a taller evergreen right here. You see I have a spot here that's not being used. I do have some nigella back here. Another victim of the storm. But they look like they want to bloom soon. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see. I just haven't mulched everything yet because it's just so much to mulch. But this is a bunch more of the cleome in here. And then I have this nigella. And then all of these are Sirius Blue Salvia. Here's one that's blooming. This is kind of what they look like. Focus. Anyway, it'll get like longer and more beautiful. Big leaves that you see in the back are hollyhocks. I don't know if they will bloom this year because I grew them from seed this year. I started them super duper early, like December, in hopes that they would bloom this year. So far, they have not, but they have gotten really big. So it's promising. And then I have bachelor's buttons. These are black. They're called black, even though they are just like dark purple. Some of them came out light purple, and I am not mad at that because it's still pretty. And then in my little statue that I showed you guys before in my video, they're looking okay. I have that petunia, which is an alba, Super Bisma alba. Yeah, I mean, you can't really see the third guy, right? His leg is in there. I know that the alyssum is not looking great, but I just kind of want to leave it, I think. Rather than try to switch it out, I think I should just leave it. This Roseanne geranium is huge and planted in like pure rocks. So I love this plant. It can handle pretty much anything. All right, let's swing around this way over to the maple tree because look at all this larkspur. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, but I feel like it's too tall for this area. These all self-seed over here because I planted them like once. I mean, they do look gorgeous, but they're just so tall. I think next year if they pop up, well, they will pop up again. I'll just maybe give them a chop or something so they're not so tall. Because these ones are even taller than the ones that are in the strip. I also have some more alyssum in here. And these little tiny daisies are fleabane. And that is a weed. But don't they look so cute together? I really like the way they look together. Over on this side, this leprechaun gold columbine is going to seed. So I'm letting it do that so I can collect the seed. And then I think I might move it because I wanted this to be like a little gnome garden, and it's kind of right in the middle, kind of in my way. So I'm probably gonna move it. I have a couple of hydrangeas in here and some creeping Jenny to kind of provide ground cover over here. These blue bachelor's buttons have pretty much fallen over, but I'm just gonna leave them because they get so bushy that once they fall over, the little side shoots just start shooting up straight. That's what happened to me last year. And so that's fine. I put some water out for the critters because of the heat wave. I put the daisies in here because they have yellow centers. And then I did pop some marigolds in here, some yellow ones, and then some orange ones as we go into the orange section. And the red section, we don't really have anything blooming right now. But there are some snapdragons. This side of the driveway is lined with all lavender. And then behind it is penstemon and sedum and a couple of panicle hydrangeas. These lavender are fully blooming right now. I have a bunch of different types in here. Let's cut across to the pumpkin patch, and then I think we're just about done. So this is it so far. I need to narrow down the pumpkins. I'm gonna pick probably like 3 for each mound. Hi everyone, it's Laura. Thanks for joining me today. It's time for a July garden tour already. Time is flying by. And this is gonna be kind of like an as-is garden tour because I feel like there's always stuff to do that I don't want to put on camera. But whatever. We're looking good enough. So let's go. So let's just start at the start, shall we? This bed here, I have a few perennial herbs in, like this. This is called a purple sage, even though it doesn't look very purple. And behind that, I have a rosemary that came back for me this year. And next to that is a chive. And right up front here, I do have an oregano that I just cut back. And the rest of the bed is pretty much just full of seedlings. Some stuff that kind of self-seeded itself. It's kind of just like a little seedling nursery right now. There's a bunch of penstemon in there. There are some foxglove seedlings. There are some lavender that I started from seed this year. Let's swing over to this side. I'm really liking how this is looking right now. The color palette is on point. I've got a bunch of these red snapdragons are called Black Prince snapdragons. I started them from seed this year and they are absolutely gorgeous. I love them. Get a little bit closer up. Beautiful. And the blue are forget-me-nots. I also have a couple of these scabiosa They're very falling over right now. I didn't realize they'd get so tall. My other ones are not this tall. I believe this one's called a Black Knight Scabiosa, and I love it. I'm obsessed. I have 2 of these. There's one on the other side too. I'll show you in a second. And then this more purple one is the Serious Blue Salvia. Also started from seed this year. Here's this other Scabiosa here, looking gorgeous. Hey girl, give me a good, there we go. And I do have a couple of other Scabiosas as well, but they are just back here a little. Purple. And some weeds in the herb spiral, of course. Haven't done much with the herb spiral this year. Kind of neglected it a bit. I did leave some of my alliums up. Some of them are falling down, but some of them are lasting. All of this dark purple is basil. These are all giant purple basil. If you've been with the channel for a little while, you'll know I did plant this entire bed with corn, but they got stolen by the squirrels and the chipmunks. So I only have I think 6 or 7 in here. I don't even know if they'll make corn, but I'll just use the stalks for decoration. And then I do have a couple of tomato plants on this side and a couple of pumpkins. But mostly the ones that are doing the best for pumpkins are on that other side of the fence or the tunnel. Not that much to look at on this side of the pathway. A bunch of hydrangeas, some irises. Look like they're getting a little bit buried. I need to uncover those rhizomes. Let's have a look at the pumpkin tunnel. We're doing all right. We're starting to get to the top. In the raised bed, I have so many peppers. This one fell over, that's okay. They are kind of out of control this year. There's a ruby hyacinth bean vine that is climbing it. And then you can see I have a purple petunia here. Some creeping Jenny here. Another petunia on the other side. And some petunias in this terracotta pot. I got this lavender, it's like a little lollipop lavender tree on clearance. It's okay, it's looking okay. And I got this foxtail fern also on clearance. I'm obsessed. I think I'm going to try to keep this one inside during the winter. And this other planter here is like my favorite right now. The Supertunia Bordeaux with Dichondra Silver Falls. It just looks so pretty together. I'm obsessed. And over here, I know I have said like a billion times that I'm gonna pull these black bachelor's buttons out because they're looking not so great. But I mean, they keep blooming. So I just can't bring myself to do it. They might not look great, but I just love these flowers. I just love the color. I just think they're so cool. But this arch has another hyacinth bean vine. And you can see my tomatoes here. They're doing pretty good. In here, this is a lot of like early season stuff. So there's a lot of pansies, and this little shrub is a pieris. And this lungwort or pulmonaria is another early bloomer. I have a couple of those. But this heuchera is amazing. Look how pretty she is. I'm obsessed with this one. She's so pretty. She's getting eaten. That's okay. We share. We share with the bugs. These hydrangeas over here are pink. So we must have a little bit different soil composition. Let's swing over to the moon garden. And I mentioned this before, but this is supposed to be white. So that'll be getting moved in the fall. I have a plan. But these white hydrangeas are blooming finally. Looking beautiful. And then my ruby slippers hydrangea is looking so gorgeous. I just think it's kind of funny that she's got blooms like all along the bottom half, but no blooms on the top. Not sure what that's all about, but she's looking good, looking beautiful. There's a bunch of self-seeded ageratums in here. And right now, mostly echinacea in bloom. Because I did just cut back a lot of stuff. I cut back a lot of alyssum. I do have some jigsaw peppers in here. Again, they are just so pretty that I just put them wherever I want them. And a little angelonia over here. Okay, let's just start at the end of the driveway, and actually I think we'll start on this side since there's not that much over here. Be fast to go through. Of course there's tons of weeds. You guys, I spent like 5 hours weeding yesterday and still not a dent. Anyway, we've got some petunias planted along the roadside. These are balcony petunias that I started from seed. I actually saved the seed from last year and started them again this year. And these are Sirius Blue Salvia that I started from seed last year. And I had this whole thing lined last year with this plant, and only about half of them came back. They're listed as a tender perennial in our zone. So I'm just glad that any of them came back, really. If you see some drooping, we just had a rainstorm, so that's what's going on there. Lots more petunias, and then I do have some ageratum in here as well. I had a lot of this self-seed, which I do not mind at all. This is one of my favorite plants for annuals. They just take care of themselves pretty much. And over here I have a bunch of alyssum in here that I planted. I started these from seed, and normally I would cut them back right about now, but I'm just kind of letting these ones go. I don't really know why. I need something to cover this area, and these are doing a good job. And I'm kind of hoping that they will self-seed. I heard that they do that sometimes, and I haven't experienced it, probably because I always cut them back. But I thought, let me let them go this time. We'll see if they self-seed themselves and come back next year. That would be awesome. This is just an Echinacea purpurea. We have lots and lots of these. Another ageratum here. This, I have a bunch of this, so I'll show you a bunch. But this is spotted bee balm, and it's amazing. I love this plant. It's, first of all, beautiful, obviously. I love how it has these stacked blooms. It attracts so many pollinators. Things that I have never seen before will show up here, like these blue wasps. And there's some other wasps. Last year someone let me know what they were, but I forgot. Of course. Anyway, here's some of the tie-dye petunias that I can show you. Really pretty, like a variation purple situation. Love, love, love. And my peony is still looking okay. It hasn't given up on life yet. Usually they're pretty done by now. It's starting, you can see. And more Echinacea. I tried to keep this bed a little bit limited to like 3 different main things. So Echinacea, the spotted bee balm, and then there's also a lot of yarrow. These are the Queen Lime Red zinnia, and they're doing great. They were getting eaten earlier in the season by bugs, but they have bounced back nicely. They're looking pretty good. And then this Echinacea here is a double-decker. You see how the flowers are kind of coming out all over? The petals, I mean. I started this one from seed last year, and this is the first bloom that I've seen. They're falling over. Oh well. And then this one is a green twister. Also gorgeous. Also started from seed. Let's go down here. And then here's a bunch more of that Cleome. They look so gorgeous. And one of them came out white, you can see. But aren't these just so whimsical and beautiful? Their leaves kind of look like, you know what. And then I have a bunch more of the Salvia Serious Blue in here as well. I did plant some petunias from seed along the pathway, but they didn't do so hot. Here's one. This is a Super Beesma alba, and it's beautiful, but they just have not grown very well for me. I did put some Creeping Jenny in here to try to take over, because I mean, you can see the weeds are pretty out of control. Haven't gotten to that side, but there's a lot of ajuga coming up. I'll show you that, and that is no problem. I would much rather have the ajuga kind of smother everything else out. So goals. Here is one tie-dye petunia here. And a ton of verbena. Technically these are lollipop verbena, but they are a lot taller than the original plant that I saved seed from, so I don't think they're staying true to that. They're more like the meteor shower or whatever they're called, the taller ones. Behind them I have hollyhocks. You can see they're starting to get rust. That's annoying, but what can you do? I really, really, really wanted them to bloom this year. I started them back in December. They're a biennial, so technically they don't bloom until the second year, but if you start them early enough, sometimes they will bloom. They have not bloomed. They're jet black hollyhocks. I really want them to bloom, you guys. I'm like, please. And then I have the same thing repeated on this side. But look how ginormous they are. But no blooms. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Look at Boomy. Hey, Woody. And this pumpkin's doing okay. It's starting to go up. It's starting. Hopefully another couple weeks and we'll be up on the branches. With little pumpkins hanging down. These are just little Jack B. Littles. I'll show you guys the rest of the pumpkin patch in a minute, but look, it's starting already. The powdery mildew, not good. Once it starts, it kind of spreads really fast, so I'll clip that one off, but it's not gonna work. Let's have a quick look at the pumpkin patch. So the big pumpkin patch is doing pretty good, you guys. I'm pretty happy with that. I haven't had any problems with the groundhogs. Surprisingly. They really haven't bothered it at all. This is just a regular limelight, I believe. I don't know. You know what? Maybe. I think that last one is a limelight. These are all just variations of panicle hydrangeas. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi everyone. Welcome to August in the garden. If you're new here, my name is Laura and I'm coming to you guys from Zone 6, Connecticut. And this is my backyard cottage garden. So let's just get started, shall we? Right here in this bed, which I like to call my fairy garden, even though the fairy garden technically doesn't start until after those boulders. I have a bunch of echinacea in here, and I have a lot of ageratum that has self-seeded. I started these from seed a few years ago, and I probably started them for like 3 years from seed, and then I realized I don't really need to do that because they are prolific self-seeders and they will come back on their own. So this is one of my favorite annuals, and I love that it self-seeds. And then I also have a bunch of one of my absolute favorite plants, these jigsaw peppers, which are just, I think, the most beautiful thing. The marbling on the leaves, the mixture of the purple and the white and the green is just absolutely stunning. And they are edible. They're a spicy pepper. And I like to mix them into the landscape because they are just so beautiful. And then I have some alyssum on the edges of the beds as well. Those are started from seed also. And as we swoop around here, on this side of the entryway, I have some beautiful Sirius Blue Salvia that I started from seed last year, and then I was able to save the seeds and start some more this year. Look at this guy, just resting. It's a foggy, kind of cool day today, and a lot of the bees are just chilling. They're just like resting on the branches. So that's fine, take a little break. I also have some forget-me-nots in here. And These are all Black Prince snapdragons. They have a red bloom. Here, I'll show you one. They're probably going to bloom again. I cut them back, but here's some. There's a bunch in front that are in bloom right now, but a lot of these were blooming for last month's tour and not so much right now. This is a butterfly bush. This one is the Pugster Amethyst. I need to deadhead a little bit, but the butterflies are definitely enjoying this. And if you've been with the channel a little while, you know I had the most beautiful bachelor's buttons here for quite a while, for months and months, but I did have to pull them out. They were really not looking good anymore. But it's okay because this ageratum is self-seeded and it's really filling in behind. So that's all good. And then I've got these pumpkins coming out of the raised bed that I'm just gonna let trail into here. And back on the opposite side in the witch's garden, I just made a video about replacing my old cauldron, which is there in the background, with this new one that I am absolutely in love with. It's from At Home. If you guys don't have an At Home store near you, get online because they have the best stuff. I get a lot of my like spooky gnomes. I get a lot of fairies from there. If you're into goth gardening or whimsical stuff, they have the best stuff. I love At Home, along with other places as well. Anyway, so this has Artemisia in it and Creeping Jenny, and that's it right now. At the base there is some Celosia, but it is a little bit ragged, a little bit end of its season. You see there's a few missing. But I did have a couple that self-seeded. There's one in the back there. So I think I'm going to try to save seed from those this year so I don't have to buy it next year. And I also told you guys about my Eclipse hydrangea that I picked up finally. This has been on my wish list all year. I'm obsessed. It's beautiful. It doesn't have any flowers right now, but I don't care. I just love the foliage. It's gorgeous. I did have some people concerned that it's too big for this spot. I'm not concerned with that. I thought of that in advance because I'm trying to make this fairy garden like a little bit more hidden. So if this grows nice and big for me, that's fine. Even if, you know, it pushes out this way, because this little piece of lattice I plan on taking down and replacing with something way cooler next year. So I can always just widen this part of the path to accommodate for the growth of this Eclipse hydrangea. So anyway, and then this guy, or girl, this gal here is a Ruby Slippers oak leaf hydrangea. And she's stunning. She's beautiful. And this is about as big as she'll get. I know that some of them get a lot bigger, but this one is supposed to top out around 5 to 6 feet. As we come back here through, oh, actually, let me show you this. This is a black-eyed Susan vine. I've got a couple things on this, so they're kind of all mixed, but I have this one here that's more sturdy. That's a climbing hydrangea. And then this is the black-eyed Susan vine. And she's beautiful. These are great. They're very vigorous and they bloom a lot. And they come in all sorts of colors, so it's a great annual vine, I think. Very pretty. Maybe I'll try to save seed from it. This is a 9 bark that I picked up at the end of last season, and it has filled in beautifully, getting nice and big. I want it to get really big. And then in the moon garden, things are looking okay. I did transplant a couple things, so not everything is looking great. Actually, this moon vine isn't looking great. I think the yellowing is because we've had so much rain lately. But this has started to bloom. The blooms are beautiful. I'll see if I can get a shot and insert it, but I'm not sure. They bloom like at night, and then in the morning they start to close up again. So I have a couple of white hydrangeas in here. On the moon gate, I have a cup and saucer vine. That's what the majority of the green is. It's beautiful. Again, it hasn't bloomed yet, but I love this vine. I think it's so pretty, even without the blooms. It has like red stems. The foliage is really pretty. And this is all one plant. That cost me like $3, by the way. I got this at that Select Seeds end of season sale. If you guys remember that video, that was fun. But look, wee. And then I did plant a grapevine at the bottom on this side as well. Only because this piece of cattle panel that I used is reused, and it's kind of not a perfect circle. So I thought, you know what? If I put this grapevine on, it'll form like a woody base, and I'll just make the circle out of that eventually, you know, someday. Welcome everyone, it's Laura, and I thought we would just do like a little bit of an impromptu front garden tour. I didn't really prepare, but let's just start up front with a couple of things that are showing off right now, including this hibiscus, which I don't know the name of off the top of my head, but I will pop it on the screen for you guys. The size of these blooms is incredible. It just started blooming maybe yesterday. Here's my hand for comparison. Just about the size of my hand. They're not like dinner plate size, not quite, but they are gorgeous. And she's all budded up. Beautiful. Down here I have some chocolate cosmos that are not quite blooming, but they are all budded up. They have a different form than a lot of cosmos. Most cosmos, they don't have that ferny texture, but the blooms are gorgeous. I wish I could show you one. We just got through with quite a rainstorm, so not the greatest. Back here I had to cut down all of my hollyhocks because they had terrible rust, and even the ones that are growing back still have the rust. So that's fine. That's too bad. Here's an example. Yeah, they're just not looking great. This trellis, the sweet autumn clematis, is blooming, and I love it. I love sweet autumn clematis. It's so pretty. I just trimmed back some of the purple hyacinth bean vine that is also on here. So I shook loose a bunch of, I don't know, what would you call that? Petal dust? I don't know. The Serious Blue Salvia is pretty much in full bloom right now. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I just saw a little black toad here. I'm gonna see if I can get him for you guys. Not get him, get a shot of him. Here he's going. That's okay. I don't want to bother him. He's so cute. I showed you guys the toad in my last video too. They're running rampant. My statue's looking pretty good. The alyssum bounced back. I didn't think that it would. That petunia's now looking fantastic. It's about that time that petunias start smelling like belly buttons and looking gross. If you know, you know. The strip garden is not looking its best. The yarrow is pretty much done for, not looking great. The same with the echinacea, so lots of things coming to the end of their season, but the spotted bee balm is still looking really good. You can still see lots of bees. Oh, here's a nasty looking guy over here. Let's see if I can catch. Oy, oy, oy. My God. I don't want him to murder me. Do you see that? Yikes. Oh my God. I'm a little bit scared. You just stay back. Oh God. He flared his wings at me. All right. And the side of the road is looking pretty good right now, actually. It's all petunias and serious blue salvia mostly. And weeds. And there's some ageratum in here too. Hi everyone, it's Laura. Welcome back. Today we're doing a garden tour. It's fall. It's time for a fall garden tour. We have all the fall feels, you guys. The colors, the leaves are falling, the weather is perfect. Let's just have a look at how the backyard is looking in the fall because it's looking beautiful. I just planted this crepe myrtle. I made a video about this and the rock garden that I put in. We had a couple rocks here already, some boulders, and we just brought in a few more and planted it up a little bit. So I've got a couple different sedums in here. I have a creeping Jenny. This variegated sedum is gorgeous. I got this from Home Depot just recently, and it's called the Atlantis, and I love it. And the crepe myrtle is the Center Stage Red from Proven Winners. And I'm obsessed with that. The alyssum over here, I never trimmed this one back, so it is blooming a little bit, but not quite as much as some of the others. And then I have an angelonia here that is looking gorgeous. Really like this plant. I think I might try to start some of these from seed next year. Has anybody done so? I love starting from seed, but I've never started angelonia before, so if anybody has any tips, let me know. I've got some ageratum in here. I did trim these back just recently because they were getting really tall and I was redoing the bed, but I've got these everywhere, so you'll see plenty more. And then along the edge, I have more alyssum, and I have these beautiful jigsaw peppers that are just absolutely stunning. Top 5 plant for me. I love them so much. Look at this one. Gorgeous. Most of this purple that you are seeing, this gorgeous, gorgeous purple, is serious blue salvia. And the color, you cannot capture it on screen. It's just so vibrant. It's so beautiful. I have a lot of that, and then I also have a bunch of snapdragons in here. And they are gorgeous as well. They're looking very like velvety. These ones are called Black Prince. They bloomed earlier in the season, so now they're blooming again. Pumpkin tunnel is pretty much empty. Nothing left. All the pumpkins have been harvested. That's what you see around the yard, so happy with the haul we got, even with all the problems this year. I do still have all of this blue spice basil. That's pretty much what all of this is. And I'm just going to leave it for the pollinators because they love it. This area here is mostly just ageratum. Again, self-seeded. The really tall ones are verbena, lollipop verbena, or meteor shower. I guess they're pretty similar. There's a Virginia creeper that's starting to climb. You guys can see why I love it. I know some people don't like it, but look at these colors. They're so gorgeous. Look. These are like, there's like purple, there's red, and it's only September. It's just such a gorgeous fall plant, Virginia creeper. I love it. Here's the rest of my tomatoes. They are ready to be done. I trimmed a bunch, but yeah, I'm ready to pull these guys out pretty much. I'm just letting them ripen a little bit more. This thing is out of control. This is a ruby hyacinth bean vine. And wow, this is one seed. Still hasn't bloomed. I hope it will so that I can collect seed from it. Peppers. I mean, my gosh. There's so many. I have so many peppers, you guys. But they are taking forever to ripen. They just take forever. Everything is still green. Also, I have this beautiful black-eyed Susan vine that is also climbing on here. That's what this red bloom is. It's so pretty. It's blooming quite a bit now, as opposed to earlier in the season. And then I do also have a climbing hydrangea on this. So I got kind of a lot going on here on this archway. But let me show you this fuchsia. This one's called Giant Purple, and you can see why. Because it's giant. It's beautiful. And it is all budded up. But look at my beautiful Galaxy petunia, still blooming. Got these at the beginning of the season, like May. Still blooming. And the alyssum, again, that's from seed. I have another Galaxy petunia over here that's blooming still. They're not perfect, you know, because they're kind of old, but still looks beautiful to me. Let me show you this cup and saucer vine. I just showed you the other one. This one is blooming. It's absolutely amazing. I am obsessed with this vine. It's so pretty. But look at, here's a bloom here. Oh my God. That took my breath away. Okay, I'm obsessed. This just bloomed like today. This one, here's another one. These are the first blooms that it's putting on. It is so pretty. Okay, I'm definitely growing that again. I mean, it's so abundant. And this is just one. So pretty. First, happy fall, y'all. Happy spooky season to everyone who celebrates. And we're in the front yard today. We're doing a front yard autumn garden tour. So I figure we will start over here by the road. We will make our way around in the rainbow garden. And then we will go towards the front of the house. And I'll show you guys everything that I have going on over there. So here we are by the road here. Everything that's down here, I kind of try to make easy to care for, like maybe even drought tolerant. So I have this beautiful Sirius Blue Salvia, which is the tall one that you're seeing. The color on that is absolutely stunning. These ones returned from last year, so that was very exciting for me. And then I have a bunch of petunias and a mix of ageratum as well, which are the little polka dot looking ones. And they come in a variety of like variations of purple. So just absolutely perfect for my taste. And all of the ageratums in my garden this year were ones that self-seeded from last year that returned for me. So absolutely love that plant. I can't talk enough about it. I love it. I know it can be a little bit aggressive in some areas. You have to be careful. But in my area, it's easy to control. I love it. It's beautiful. Moving on. Okay, moving on into the red section, we're going to have a quick look at the snapdragons. They look amazing. I am in love with these snapdragons. I think that these might be my winner for the year in terms of like all the plants in the garden. I think that they are the most beautiful. They're the most goth for sure, I think. These are Black Prince snapdragons. And when I first planted them, they didn't look great. This area is kind of sandy over here. It needs a lot more amending next year. But they have really started to thrive now. They look so beautiful. They're supposed to have this dark foliage. I love it. I love it so much. What do you guys think? Do you like this dark look? Do you like it? Because I love it. Look at this one. This one is, oh my God. Just absolutely gorgeous. Moving on into the orange section. I am not a huge like warm color fan. I mostly like purples and blues and things like that with some red mixed in. But these are really doing it for me this year. These marigolds are looking so beautiful. And I have this Gerbera daisy here that my sister-in-law gave me for Mother's Day this year. I am in love with this flower. It's so pretty. The color is amazing. Marigolds, I usually don't really like. I don't like the smell of them. But these just are so cute and they're thriving. I haven't touched them. I haven't done anything for them. I know, I'm terrible. I haven't deadheaded them like pretty much at all. They just look so good. I think I'm going to try to save seed from these. These orange ones and the yellow ones, both of them absolutely kind of stunners over here, especially this time of year in the fall. They just look so good. So we're moving into the yellow section right now, which is kind of, doesn't have a lot going on right now. Earlier in the season, the yellow section is like going crazy. I have a lot of yarrow over here. That's this ferny texture that you see, the big fern one. This is the native kind of yarrow, and it has a yellow bloom. And then I also grow the Colorado yarrow, which has a little bit different ferny texture to it. And that is this one here. Neither of them are in bloom right now. The one that I planted over here, this Colorado yarrow, has kind of like a pale yellow, but it comes in all sorts of pastel colors. They're just not in bloom right now. But this is the yellow section, and then we move on to the green section, which I don't have a whole lot going on in here. This is still a work in progress, you guys. Over here I have this like makeshift raised bed that I made out of like little window boxes. This is pretty much just a feeding station for wildlife. So we have a native groundhog that lives here. Actually, I think I have a quick clip of her that I can insert here from the other day. And I love her and I choose to live in peace with her. So I do try to give her some food now and then. However, she doesn't hang out over here anymore. She used to all the time, and now she kind of hangs out closer to the house. So she hasn't really been, it's kind of full of weeds right now, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this whole area kind of needs work, whatever. It's a work in progress. I'm sure you guys can relate. There's plenty of areas to work on in the garden. So you got to prioritize. I know that my hydrangea situation is not great. I made an attempt. An attempt was made to sort of stake them up a little bit. But they're just heavy. And I'm going to come back at it with a real attempt. I'm going to get them all nice and beautiful. They're going to look gorgeous by the time I'm done. But for now, they're looking a little sad. It's not great. Over in this area, I mostly have those panicle hydrangeas. Then I have a lot of this autumn joy sedum, which is just looking so beautiful this time of year. It's just my favorite. And then I do have a lot of lavender as well along the edge here. Most of these I got last year on clearance. So they were all $5 or less. But they're different types of lavender, and some are like thriving more than others. But they did overwinter. Most of them overwintered just fine. So that is a positive. I'm loving this view here. Absolutely beautiful. And then I have a few spotted bee balms that self-seeded themselves over here. I have a bunch of them on the other side of the driveway. So they just, floated over here. That's a good one for bees. The bees are pretty much done for the year. I have seen maybe a few left, but for the most part, they are gone, which is sad. And now we will swing over to the other side of the driveway here. And things are looking okay over here. Like I said, with the drought, I haven't been watering much just because it is the end of the season. So I'm not that concerned if plants do die off. But they've been doing all right. I still have a lot of ageratum in bloom over here. These, again, like I said, these all self-seeded. I have a lot of alyssum lining the side of the garden here. How did that sound? And then I have a crimson 9-bark in here. That's what that dark foliage is back there. I don't know if you guys can kind of see that. But that's one that the deer really like to eat. And I wish I had taken that into account. Because they do eat off of it often. This is probably like the third time that they've trimmed it back for me. So that's annoying. But what are you going to do? I could spray it, and I should spray it, but sometimes I don't have time or memory for these things. I still have some petunias in bloom. These are the tie-dye petunias that I started from seed from Swallowtail Gardens, and they are still blooming. They've been blooming all season. They have performed really well for me. I really love these. I think I'm going to try to save seed from these, and if I don't do that, I'll just order more because they are super duper pretty and I really like them. These are probably my favorite petunia that I grew this year. Yes. That I grew from seed this year, I'll say that. Now you will see a lot of these black balls. These are just dead echinacea. I leave them standing for the birds and they love it. So for the most part, I just leave them up all winter. These are Queen Lime Red zinnias. And they are still blooming and they're looking gorgeous. They don't look great at the bottom of the plant, but the blooms are still looking great. And these were a little bit of a nice surprise for me because I have had some trouble with zinnias in the past couple years. Just having them kind of be annihilated by pests and things early in the season and not getting blooms. But these were able to fight off the pests in the beginning of the season. And now they are blooming. They look great. So hopefully I can grow more of those next year because I really do love zinnias. They are so pretty. There is a salvia that's still in bloom here. And this little ageratum, which does not want to focus. That's another one of the dark ones. That's my favorite shade of the ageratum. I did move some foxglove up here just recently from the back because I didn't want it in the back with my dog. I get a little paranoid with foxglove. So I brought it out here. This one is, I believe it's called like a Dalmatian. It's stunning. Look at the bloom. I love it. It's so pretty. You know, it's not looking its best right now because I moved it up here. But these self-seeded and they bloomed already, same year. So that was a nice surprise. And I actually got quite a few of them. So I moved them all out here to this strip. So hopefully they will self-seed out here next year. And then on the arch here, this is a ruby hyacinth bean vine, and it is absolutely out of control. But it's blooming, you guys. It's finally blooming. The one that I have in the back still is not blooming, but this one is in bloom. It's hard to see because they're really up high. I think that the blooms must want to be like really reaching for the sun or something. I don't know. This is my first year with this vine, but it's amazing. I'm really happy that it bloomed because I'm hoping to collect seed from it for next year for sure. It is November 1st and we still haven't had our first frost. Kind of crazy. So let's look out here first by the road because there's still a few things in bloom. Now, they're not necessarily still blooming, but they still have blooms on them, if you know what I mean. So probably if I were to cut back, say like these petunias, if I were to cut them back, they probably would not put out new growth, which is why I'm not cutting them back yet, because they still have blooms on them. These chocolate cosmos are all still in bloom, and I think they like this type of weather, this cooler weather. Now you can see these are a little bit different than your normal cosmos. They don't really have that ferny texture, and they are a lot shorter, but I love them. I like the foliage style. I like everything about these. I started to save some seed from these, so hopefully that will work out because I want a million more of them next year. These are gorgeous. The color is amazing. Hello, beautiful. And then behind them, you can see still a lot more ageratum and a lot more salvia still in bloom. I just watered. It took me literally like 2 hours to water the whole garden, but it had to be done because it hasn't rained in like a month. Whenever they say we're gonna get rain, it'll rain for like 5 minutes and that's it. It's just not enough. Here's kind of a funny one. This lavender has rebloomed. Now I have a whole bunch of them, but only a couple have done this. So this one here, and it smells amazing, of course. And then this one down here has also sent out a few blooms. And have a look at these two. Don't they look gorgeous? Now I know if you guys have been with me I've mentioned a few times that all these lavenders are kind of different because I picked them up on clearance. But obviously, these two right here, these are the best ones. Yeah? Of course, these red snapdragons are still in bloom. Or I should say, they are blooming again. They bloomed earlier in the season. We cut them back. Now they are just more robust. They are stronger. They're bigger. They're better. Look, they're all budded up. This one's all budded up, ready to put on more blooms. They like the cold. It's not cold right now, but you know what I mean. They like the fall. They are really kind of their time to shine right now. And the foliage, give me a break. From far away, it looks almost black. This morning, with the sun shining on them, it almost looked blue. And then they also look red and green. So, explain it. And behind them, the celosia is also still in bloom. I cut those back, and this is a mess, you guys. But I cut these back a while ago, and some of them have bounced back nicely, like this one. There's one back here. And this black-eyed Susan vine is also still in bloom. Some of it just kind of fell. But we just leave things. It's November. But this one is looking gorgeous. This one was called Susie something? I'll put it on the screen. My mom's name is Sue, so that's why I remember. Look, it's starting to rain. It will drizzle, literally, for like 5 seconds. And then we'll be done again. Of course, this is happening after I just watered for 2 hours. But more water is even better. It's fine. So anyway, this is still in bloom, looking gorgeous. This hyacinth bean vine is not blooming. This one, I've showed it to you guys a couple times. This one's not blooming, but the one in the front did bloom just a little bit. Enough that I'll be able to get seeds off of it. It stopped raining. Told you guys. It stopped. This Roseanne geranium, which I have a couple of, is in bloom. This is a hardy geranium. I have a couple different varieties of this. This is the only one that's in bloom right now. This is definitely my favorite one. I believe this is the one that won like plant of the year or something a couple years ago. Might have been last year. From Proven Winners. Was it Proven Winners? Guys, fact check me. I'm struggling. But I know it won something. It's an amazing plant. I love this plant. This one's a little bit of a sad sight, but this is a chrysanthemum that, I got this from the select seed sale at the beginning of the season. And I did cut it back once, but I think I should have trimmed it back a couple more times because it flopped over as soon as it got too tall. My bad. And the cup and saucer vine is still in bloom. Still blooming. Every day it has new blooms. I'll be interested to see how this takes a frost. Now this is a morning glory that just worked its way on there. But this is the foliage from the cup and saucer vine. Just absolutely beautiful. This might be the winner for the year. I just love this plant so much. Anyway, I've talked about this in a few different videos, so go check out those. But this is still in bloom, and actually the other one that I have on the other side is also blooming now. I'll show you. So this one doesn't have as many blooms, obviously, but this one is also blooming. This is the beautiful cup and saucer bloom that starts out like this creamy color and then it turns purple. Just so pretty. And there is one more to show. Look at this mess. My husband stacked up all this wood and then it just fell over. Of course. And of course the alyssum is still in bloom. You guys know this is my favorite. So she'll be in bloom for a while. She can handle a frost too. So she's gonna hang out until she can't take it anymore. Which I think is usually around like 25 degrees. Now, I do have a little bit of frost damage on some of these ageratums here. I'll show you. See? It's kind of funny how, you know, the rest of the plant just fine. But there's just a few spots where the frost got it. So we're lucky over here. For some reason, our microclimate tends to favor us. So for example, there was a frost when I went, you know, like down the street the other day, but nothing was frosty here. So that was weird. Just goes to show you. Microclimates. And then I want to show you guys this, of course. Sorry for the mess. I'm working on stuff. This is that giant purple fuchsia. I wish I had put this higher up because, as you can see, you know, they're kind of hard to see the blooms. But is this not gorgeous? And it is still in bloom. And it is still blooming. It's blooming every day. And then the whole thing will just drop off. I've been collecting seed pods from it. I think. I think I have. I think that's what I'm collecting. We'll see when they dry, I guess, if there's seeds in there. But I'm also considering bringing this in for the winter. I have quite a few plants that I'm thinking about doing that with. But I have cats, so I always have to check first to make sure it's okay that they're around cats. Normally, you know, some cats are normal. They won't chew on your plants, but I have one that is not normal. He's an orange cat, so he chews on everything. So, gotta be careful what I bring inside. So that's pretty much what is left for blooming plants in the garden. We'll see how we fare. There's a chance of frost this weekend, and then it's gonna get warm again. It's like if we make it through those few cold nights, we might get warm again. We might get lucky again. We might let it last a little longer. So anyway, thanks for joining me for this video. I hope to see you guys next time with another one. I am working on a Christmas DIY right now for inside, but I gotta start taking my Halloween down. I'm sad. You guys know I am year-round spooky, so a lot of stuff does stay up, but I do have to take some things down. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.